Okay, so by the time they got here, 1652, they were already what? They'd already bought into the dogma, forcefully so. They themselves were the oppressed, forcefully so, right? They were their own slaves to their kingdom, right? Having to leave what their forefathers knew, they already had to keep quiet about their own folklore, about their own traditions, right? Under the United Kingdom or Britain, right? And so all they did was now pass on that shame. All they did was just project the word pagan and convert it to the K word, to any other word, right? All they did was to project that pain, that shame, right? Because perhaps, unlike us Black people, there wasn't a very clear sense of where this tradition and this culture of theirs was coming from, besides folklore. You know, with us, it's slightly different because we've got clan names, we've got totem animals, we've got herbs and plants that align with our clan names. They themselves, they had a solid sense of spirituality before the religion, but because they didn't have the origin of that, besides the Vikings and I believe the Irish, right? And the Spanish people, Spanish and the Portuguese. But the bulk of the West did not have the roots to where this tradition and the spirituality of theirs came from. So it became easier, I suppose, for them to continue with a religion and drop what was in any case spirituality that resulted in witch hunts and people being burnt. So in terms of trauma, they experienced the defiance to monotheism in a totally different way, right? And for some of you guys are going to understand why, hopefully in later classes, what your link to fire is, right? And what the common link between the whole world to fire is, right? So when they came, they just projected that shame. And that shame evolved into whatever, slavery, into apartheid, slavery. Let's not even go to apartheid, that's recent, right? That evolved into slavery because there was already a sense of classicism within them. Their civilization was made up of a lot of cruel dynamics, right? So what does this have to do with us today? Some of us Black people do have white ancestors. And then we wonder why those white ancestors bring up monotheism or religion or Christianity at some point in your spiritual journey, right? We wonder why even our seemingly Black cuckoos want you to follow the religion. They are not departing from their own forefathers, because then if your cuckoo, or let's say from a Southern African perspective, 400 years of our slavery plus 500 years of their own indirect oppression, your bloodline now is running on about 900 years of oppression from different aspects, from different points of view, but the result is the same, the monotheistic God. That's the result, right? And this is where now your cuckoos will say, okay, well, we want you to bring up the Bible. This is also why, as Africans, we must be stern in our belief systems, mobadimu, right? And not look at trying to form Badimu as an organized religion. It's precisely for that reason. Because even your white forefathers, even your white ancestors, right? They themselves, by coming through and giving you the religion, they are giving you the top surface. They're giving you the beautiful love and light story, right? But as time goes on and they see you embodying who you really are, then they will show you the truth that there is so much congruence, right, between African folklore and mythology and what they did before they were also forced into monotheism. This has also created a shame wound for white people today, right? Descendants, direct descendants, the ones that we see having the white skin, right? They are now, because of monotheism, because of religion, which was a political strategy. Religion was just a political strategy. To this day, we're having white people that don't know on which side of the fence they belong. And as we can sit and talk about, slavery to them, in the memory of their own DNA, there's something about them that wants to scream that, no, we're not oppressors. We're not killers. However, they don't have the physical, maybe facts to prove it. They don't have the physical facts to prove it because of plagiarism and all these other things that white people eventually did as a result of the shame, right? Religion teaches plagiarism. Religion teaches people to take from others. Religion teaches people to take other people's ideas and make them your own. Religion teaches a self-righteousness where it doesn't mean anybody becomes like a means to an end. Religion is all about a bottom line. And these people have had 500 years of their own to be forced into seeing things in the bottom line. Today, we're having white people that have got ancestral gifts. And even Lerona, as black people, we're not very accommodating. Yes, they do go and twasa at mafeto and all of that, but we give them the outside backhanded, because the outside view, because a part of us holds a certain resentment towards them, but we're not holding the resentment again. We're going back to the monotheistic God. We're not questioning that deity. Or who are you and what do you want? So they are sitting on the fence of the shame now of who they are by virtue of the color of their skin, right? And the actions of their forefathers in this country. And that shame means then that they must either try to blend in, right, into the dynamics of this country or of the African land. But they also have an inherent sense of they feel like they don't belong. So in the absence of them being able to comprehend, right, and to break out of the shame mold, in the absence of that, then they become staunch, maybe you can say racist. Then they become staunch racist. But again, as spiritualists, what option do we give them? Because we are projecting our anger, which should be directed to the monotheistic God, onto them. And they have to sort of consume that anger, whether they like it or not, right? Because we outnumber them in terms of population, right? And because all of the reasons that they have given themselves to perpetuate this innate shame that they have, which is the oppression, all of those reasons now are falling down and they don't know what to hold on to, right? Let me park it here and then